Welcome to day 10 of the personal transformation. This video is about the primal brain. When I woke up this morning, I was pretty tired. I had a long day yesterday, got in late, and my mind was racing. So I rolled out of bed at 4:45, and I got downstairs and I sat on the bench where I put on my shoes, my running shoes, and I sat there holding one of my shoes and staring at the floor listlessly. What was going on in my brain was my primal brain was triggering me with all sorts of thoughts, such as, just quit, don't do this. You're too tired. Just go back to sleep. Go eat some high calorie, easy to consume food, right? These are the thoughts going through my mind. So I think recognizing the primal brain and doing something about it, or making a conscious decision about it, is a critical and necessary thing for any personal transformation. So I've always struggled with this, and I think everybody does. You have thoughts that come into your brain, and you can either passively act on them, or you can actively choose to do something or not do something. A lot of times we just get caught in emotions where we just do something, and we don't really consciously understand why. But I think it's important for us to really understand what's causing us to behave the way we're behaving, and then be more mindful, actively make a decision. There's a constant series of messages, impulses, instincts going on in the human body that cause behavior to happen in a certain way. One of the interesting ones is the flight or fight response. We have an entire nervous system, adrenaline system, designed and built for us to avoid harm or even avoid something that could cause us to die. So we're really aggressive about that. If for example, I'm sitting here in my office, let's say a Bengal tiger walks into my office. My instincts and my adrenaline system and my fight or flight response is going to instantly trigger, right? And that is an actual legitimate reason to have this, right? Is to protect myself, right? To react. However, that same instinct fires when it's really not even needed. For example, if I were to pick up the phone right now and cold call a business contact to try to sell something, that could in some people, and in fact, I think it is with most people, could fire off an instinctual fear response. But just think about it. Are you really in danger? Is it really going to cause you to die? No. Like this morning, is putting my shoes on and walking out the door and running around the block going to kill me? No, it's actually going to benefit me. But that same instinctual response is happening to me irregardless of how much threat I am. I mean, right now in the news, we're seeing a lot of images from the conflict in Israel. And we're all having a visceral reaction to that because we're human, and that makes sense. We should have a visceral reaction to violence. People over there have an actual need to have this fear of survival. But a lot of us go throughout our whole day in an office job or whatever our employment is with the same instincts kicking off that we really should not be paying attention to. We should really be telling them this just to shut up. The primal brain, if left unchecked, can be constantly discouraging you from doing anything risky or actually doing any work at all. It wants you to be lazy because being lazy and doing nothing is the safest thing you can do. So it's fighting you constantly because it does not want you to work hard, right? Because work can cause injury or death or some sort of calamity. So and by the way, I'm just talking fear and flight. There's probably 20 other core instincts. Just think about all of the different ones: the reproductive instinct, the parental instinct, the survival instinct, hunger, all of those things. And there's some really interesting ones, like we have an instinct of choosing a mate, but we also have an instinct of picking the right people for our society. I mean, there's a whole entire mechanism that we have to be desired to be connected to other humans, because that's how we survive, right? Working together is how we survive. So we obviously need to be very judicious about who is in that tribe. So that's also an instinct. So if we're not careful, sorry, we can let those instincts really take over, which is could be good, but oftentimes is bad. If you think about it, the human brain is not just what is right here behind your eyes, but the human brain is this entire thing in your cranium, but it's also your entire body. You have parts of the brain everywhere. In your stomach, for example, constantly sending signals up to your brain. There's a huge nerve ending system in your hands and in your feet that are also sending signals constantly. The brain itself has 10 or so different systems, and all of those systems are triggering on various different things: sound, sight, spatial, even processing emotions, memories, decision-making processing. All of that is inside other parts of the brain, and they're all sending signals for you to act on. Now, some happen automatically, like breathing, but you can, as a conscious decision, you can actually make the decision to interrupt one of those, like stop breathing while I jump into a pool or something. So you have the ability to intercept these things and to consciously decide to act or not act. That in itself is I mean, just think about it. Whoever programmed the human mind and body must have been a genius. It's just incredible, right? Then if you think about it, what's even more incredible is the human consciousness that rides on top of that. The fact that we have a consciousness that can actually interpret these signals and make a decision is really incredible. I mean, that is just out there. I mean, we may never understand that. And, you know, depending on your religious persuasion, you may understand that at that sense. And now you can understand why humans have always had kind of this esoteric desire to represent this idea outside of themselves, because gosh, just think about it, how amazingly beautiful that is. But regardless of the religious aspect, just think about it. You have a consciousness. You can make active, mindful decisions about what you do. You do not have to follow the instinctual patterns, impulses, desires that come to you constantly. So the main message here is, you got to tell that primal brain to shut up when it's not needed. You cannot let it control you. If you wake up every morning and you let that primal brain tell you what to do, you're going to be doing nothing. You're going to be eating bad things. You're going to be doing things that are the least effort possible. So it's really important to deal with that. And also be careful what you see and what you input. If you're looking at certain imagery all day long, that is going to impact you. If you see certain images or certain sounds or whatever, it's constantly flowing in, your primal brain can't distinguish. It's signaling and triggering you constantly. It's going to be constantly triggering you. So if you're watching a Netflix show, you're binge watching some show, and there's a lot of violence and death and mayhem and, you know, caustic drama, well, your primal brain doesn't know the difference. It's going to be triggering you constantly. Anxiety, you know, it's funny. Sometimes I'm all stressed out, and then I sit there and think about, well, what have I been inputting? What have I been allowing myself to see? You know, we always talk about, you know, I go out in nature and I can just sit there and I feel so much calmer. Well, obviously, right? You're no longer getting the inputs that cause all this response from you, and you're not fighting that constantly. So bottom line is, the main message here is be mindful. Understand why these desires are happening and learn to tell it to shut up when you need to, so you can get back to your personal transformation. Thank you.